All right, this is going to be for the question, how long does it take to buy a home? Now, generally when it comes to buying a home, it takes a few weeks to a few months, but of course that's going to vary drastically on a lot of different things. So let's just talk about the point of where we're actually shopping. So I know a lot of times our buyers, they're shopping months and months, maybe a year online, but we're gonna only talk about the point where we start actually going and looking at houses together. So that's gonna vary significantly on how common the property is that you're looking for. If you're looking for a split entry with a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage in a neighborhood of 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garages, of course it's not going to take nearly as long as if we're looking for a certain piece of property or we're looking for a lake lot on a specific part of a lake. Of course those are going to be harder to come by, and that's going to really affect how much time it takes for us to find what you're looking for. Now keep in mind, just because what you're looking for isn't common, that doesn't mean we can't find it in a reasonable time frame. The earlier that you come and talk to us and tell us what you're looking for, the sooner we can get out there and start finding it for you. So our team actually specializes in finding off-market properties, and it's the same thing that investors do. Except they're buying ugly houses, we're trying to buy the nice houses. And what we do is we offer the opportunity for a seller to just go ahead and sell to one of our buyers and go around, not have to deal with getting their house ready for the market. And often our buyers get first dibs that way on great houses. So the more specific you are, the more that works. So again, reach out to us and go, hey, I'm looking for 10 acres. It has to be great for horses. Perfect, I can do that. I know how to go out and find it. If we wait for that to come on the market, potentially 2 or 3 other buyers were also waiting for that property, and now we're in a bidding war. So I always call it buy before you bid. If you want to buy before you bid, make sure you reach out. So the second thing is how flexible you are with making the property your own. Does it have to be perfect to move in, all the right colors, all that? Well, even in a market where there's lots of choices, it still allows us to get really picky, and that can of course take more time. So I always recommend that we make sure we're buying the right footprint, we're buying the big ticket items. And if we're going to spend money, let's spend money on the fun stuff. Let's spend money on the colors, on the things that make you excited to come home. But let's try to save the money, let somebody else spend the money on a roof and on an air conditioner and on foundation and those types of things. Let's make sure that that was all part of the seller's side. And generally we get a better buy that way. Paint and carpet goes a long ways, so keep that in mind. And then finally, it's going to come down to how flexible are you with location? Do we have to be in the same subdivision as a daughter so we can raise we can help raise the kids? Or are we looking across the entire Northland, Parkville to Liberty? We just want to be 20 minutes to the office downtown. That's going to give us a lot more options, and of course we'll be able to get it done faster. Now when it comes to being under contract, it's generally going to take us 30 to 45 days. So this is from the point that we've written an offer and it's been accepted. It's not going to necessarily cover the other time. So again, we don't know how often we're going to be able to go look at houses together depending on your availability. We don't know how tough the market's going to be and how many offers we have to write to get it. So we're only going to talk about after we've already got the house, we're under contract, now we have a certain amount of time. It's going to take 30 to 45 days from that point, and it's going to include that first 10 or 15 days of doing our due diligence period, and this is when we do all of our inspections. This is when we're going to be having the home inspection, having the sewer inspected, having radon tested, termites. We want to make sure that we are checking the zoning on the property, making sure that the zoning's compliant if that's a concern. We're going to check the boundaries, make sure that they all look correct while we're out there, and just determine whether or not we need a survey. We're also going to want to check with our insurance company, make sure that the property's insurable, and make sure that it was what you thought it was going to be. Also, we're going to check on flood insurance and make sure that property's not actually in a floodplain. And in that first 10 to 15 days, providing you do an inspection, on most contracts you're going to be able to walk away and keep your earnest money. After that, we're going to go into the financing period, and this is really when the lender starts really getting onto you, getting all the paperwork. Remember early on we did a pre-qualification. Well, now we're working on approval. So approval is when we are trying to satisfy the underwriter. Remember, your loan officer is kind of the go-between. They're your agent between the underwriter, the bank, and you. So they're going to come to you and ask for a lot of documents. And really what all that is two things. Number one, they know what the underwriter's probably going to be asking for, so they're trying to put together a really good case and get it through the first time. If that doesn't work, which is more often than not the case, the underwriter is going to give us back conditions. Those conditions will be provide a statement as to why there was $1,000 deposited 3 months ago in your bank account. Explain what this $20 a month was going to. It doesn't make sense on their bank statement. Those types of things. The underwriter is just making sure that your loan conforms, because they're probably going to sell this off into a secondary market, and they have to make sure that the terms of that program that you match it. If something doesn't fit in the box, then the underwriter has to explain why it doesn't, and they're allowed a certain amount of leeway, but they have to document it and explain it. Sometimes our buyers get really frustrated with that. Just remember that the loan officer is actually on your side through this, and he's combating the underwriter for you. So that's going to take 2 to 3 weeks. And it's also going to include the appraisal. So sometimes we could even get pre-qualified and then pre-approved before we're even under contract. And then at that point, we're really only waiting on the appraisal. And the appraisals, depending on the market, they can take a week to 2 or 3 weeks. So again, that puts us at that like 3 to 4 weeks on the low side. And then certain government loans like VA and USDA, sometimes they take 45 to 60 days. And there's some reasons for that, which we won't go into. That's basically what you can expect. I generally tell somebody we're starting to shop that we're going to need a good 4 to 5 months. So if you're wanting to move by June, we really need to start this process in January and February. That way we're not rushed in the end, and we have lots of options and lots of time to prepare for things that might go wrong. Of course, if we do things the other way around, us as agents and the lender, we're scrambling to make up for lost time. And when things pop up unknown, we have a lot less options on how we deal with them because we're under the gun at that point. So I always recommend, again, that you get pre-approved as soon as possible and you reach out and talk to us as soon as possible. We can do a lot more. We have a lot more tools available when we have more time to use them.